Hi guys and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. I'm Farhad. If you're new to this channel then please smash that subscribe button now. And we are just four subscribers away only from the 1k mark, the first big landmark on the channel. So let's get to that 1k mark and grow from there. I know I can count it on my fingers now, just 4 subscribers. So please subscribe to the channel. So the film that we are going to be talking about and discussing today is the new Malayalam film, which has started streaming on Netflix today, which is called Padavettu, which is essentially a political drama. Now, I was really excited to watch this film, and one of the reasons being that I have acquired a taste for the political dramas as a genre. Uh, One of the reasons also is that such films aren't made every day. Political dramas aren't made every day due to whatever XYZ reason. Everyone knows about it, but let's keep that apart. But the only industry, and I say this with the utmost respect and humility, that the only film industry that has been consistent and unabashed with the political dramas is the Malayalam film industry. And the reason for that is that uh, it's exactly that, it's unabashed, it's unapologetic, and the makers actually know how deep to go in that genre. That is I think a conflict that most makers from other film industries have, due to restriction or whatever, that how deep can you go and where do you draw the line, but not with Malayalam films. And that is why the political dramas coming from Malayalam film industry has been the highlight of the year, even if it is like Pada, which is one of my favorite Malayalam films of the year, or whether it is Kotu. I think such films, are a rarity, and it really is heartening if the filmmaker just goes all out with it. So then, how is Padavettu? Let's find out. So Padavettu is essentially a story of a layman who has no work, is of that brooding type who just doesn't do anything, just sits around, and who finds himself amidst a political turmoil that is created around him. Now. I would say this, that this story is another example of vintage Malayalam cinema, and I say this because they take a very simple story. It's in fact not even a story; it's a premise. It can be an event, it can be an incident, but they transform it into something totally else with that layered and cerebral screenplay. And Padavettu is exactly that. It's exactly that. They have transformed a very simple event, and they've given it a political angle, which was extremely well written. I felt the screenplay here is cerebral, it's layered, it's unabashed, it's unapologetic, and it's 140 minutes of pure simmering tension and later carnage. That's how I would describe the screenplay. If I had to, break it down, speaking of the world building, one of the main ingredients of a political drama is the world building. You have to have that texture in the drama which will eventually lead to a very flavorful drama. You cannot just get to the point and start the proceedings. You have to have a setup, you have to have sufficient time that the audience would spend with the environment to get familiar with it, so that you totally get that political angle right. And that is where Padavettu really excels. You are introduced to the protagonist early on in the film, and you do get a sense that he's the brooding type. He doesn't do much. He stays in a house, which with his mother, which which has the roof leaking, and that is the basic, the core that is there, and that core ingredient that is there, that takes the writers take this very event, and they give it a political spin to it. Now when I talk about politics, it doesn't necessarily mean the main parties that are ruling the government. No, that is not politics. Politics is generally at a very grassroots level. It's very deeply rooted in any country. You can take it, not only India, any country. It's deeply rooted. It starts from that grassroots level and slowly makes its way to the top. I always have believed that. And here, generally, it is a thing that you see with the local politicians that when there's an election that is round the corner, the softest targets are the ones, the locals that are there, people from the lowest strata of the society, they are the quick buys, you can say. So you do something for them and, quickly gain their trust. And that is the exact event that happens here in this film, where the politician, I think he's the opposition leader if I'm not wrong, he uh, offers in inverted commas, he offers to, fix the roof of the protagonist, without even giving in an option to refuse. And eventually makes the house, he just gives the house his name, it's like the house is sponsored by him, so to say, in that plaque that is there. So I felt that was a interesting and quite vivid observation that was there, that was inculcated in the screenplay. Yes, you do get a feeling of the surroundings as well, of the village and of the villagers, and you get to know that, there is no unity between them, and that is one of the reasons why the politics eventually actually takes place in the at the very first beginning, so that is something that was really interesting to judge. Now there are some beautiful metaphors in the screenplay also. Like there's a parallel plot involving a boar, who, which just spoils the fields that are there, and even eventually ends up injuring or killing some people as well, in the tussle. Now this is directly compared, you can directly compare this with the main plot, which features the politician. So it is implied that the politician is a boar who, is attacking the fields, which is the local village, and entering the property of the locals, which is, actually the property of the locals, right? So you should be entering. So I think that is a lovely metaphor that is there. And you also, through a series of flashbacks, you get to know the brooding, why the protagonist has ended up being this brooding creature that he is at the moment. You do get a sense of what had happened in his life, and how, he eventually has ended up being what he is, what you see on screen. And I think that was a very effective way of, uh, layering out the screenplay. When we say a layered screenplay, what do we mean by layered screenplay? This is exactly that. You hold some cards up your sleeve, without, showing the entire set that you have. So that is a layered screenplay. So the events leading up to the final act, I think they have that simmering tension to it. There is this tension that goes on brooding, eventually till it reaches that pinnacle where the protagonist loses his shit, and he absolutely that's when the hell breaks loose, you can say. And it is signified in that beautiful and spectacular scene, that adrenaline rush that is there, in which he chases that boar and he eventually ends up killing it. I think that was the start of the next set of events that were going to unfold. It is provocative. The drama is provocative, is it unabashed, and it is unapologetic. I think it most definitely is worth your time. And the final act, again, it could have so easily been that over the top commercial stuff that we see in other films, but here it is so rooted. It will also remind you parts of the second hour will also remind you of the Tamil film Karnan, which starred Dhanush, and which more or less does signify that the drama is rooted also. In many ways it is rooted. And yeah, the final act, is filled with an adrenaline rush, which, fills you up with a lot of energy. So overall, uh, the screenplay, I really like the screenplay. It was really cerebral, it was really provocative, it was unabashed, and it was unapologetic, really well written. And coming to the technical aspects now, the dialogues, I felt the dialogues were pretty cerebral, and they gave a nice texture to the drama. It was, I think this drama, if I'm not wrong, and you can correct me if I'm not wrong, I think this was again set in the north of Kerala, in the Malabar region. And I say this because I've seen a couple of films, and I can, draw parallels to it in terms of its culture. I feel it was in that North Malabar region, and I did get a vibe of the drama through the dialogues, through the lines, and I think it was very well written. The music and especially the BGM, I think the BGM was spectacular and heightens the tension in so many places. Cinematography is good again, and it again captures the vibe of the drama very well. Now, director Liju Krishna, I think he's done a spectacular job here in, firstly understanding the culture, keeping the drama deeply rooted. When we talk about politics, it's not about, the hero eventually coming out on top. It's none of that, it's actually very deeply rooted. And I think he gets the vibe of the film on point, I feel. And also, he weaves an interesting and engrossing tale around the politics that features in the area, and I think at the granular level, I think that is a success, and it's a huge success for me as far as political dramas are concerned. Now, coming to the performances, I felt, Aditi Balan is pretty good, although I did feel that her track, it was a little half-baked. And to be honest, I mean, the love angle did not work for me. The love angle could easily have been replaced without having any impact on the screenplay. Thankfully, the writers do not overindulge in that. So Aditi Balan is good despite the limited screen time. Shine Tom Chacko, I think he's everywhere. He's everywhere to be seen, and here too he's done a good job in an extended cameo. You can say that's pretty much it. I think Shami, the antagonist, is calculative, and I think he does a pretty good job here. But the show is an out and out Nivin Pauly show, who is one of my favorite actors who's doing the rounds. And why do I say he's one of my favorite actors? And I say it in the same breath as Fahad Fazil or some of the others, maybe Prithvi Raj as well, because of the range of the actor. He can so easily pull off a comedy like we saw in Kaka Ka or in Bangalore Days, and so easily do something like this. He can also do something like a Muthon, which was something totally different. So the range of an actor is there. And Nivin Pauly here was absolutely spectacular. And it's not easy to pull off a character that has a brooding, so to say, a brooding personality. That much it limits the actor's armory, and you need to have good expressive skills to, to eventually express yourself being that brooding type. And I think he did a pretty good job. That simmering tension that was there, it was like a ticking time bomb, and when it exploded, I think we saw a different dimension to his character, which again showed his character range. So Nivin Pauly is an absolute thumbs up for me. So overall, Padavettu, I felt, is provocative. It is a slow, simmering political drama, but extremely provocative, and it does come with my high recommendation. It's streaming on Netflix. Watch the film if you haven't, and let me know your thoughts on it if you already have. Also, let me know what did you make of the film. I'm speaking from someone, as someone who's not from, Kerala, so I will view the film differently. But you can probably tell me something more closely, if you've grasped some things, or some culture reference, anything that is there. Those all things also you can let me know in the comment section. If you're liking this video, press the like button. Yes, subscribe to the channel. We are just 4 away at the time of recording this video, and we are soon going to touch that magical 1K mark and then grow from there. It's not going to be our only landmark. We are going to be growing from there. If you'd also like to read my full review of the film Padavettu on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S at the end, then the link of which is in the description box below. Also follow me on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. I'm nearing 1K followers on Instagram as well. So then just leave a follow. You will get to know about some of the other releases that I'm also doing, and I'm not eventually making a video on every review that I'm writing. So you will get that information from Instagram and Facebook. So do leave a follow, and I'll see you again very soon with another video. So then until next time, thank you so much.